This video is anchored and patterned from Pivot for a Learner's Material, Quarter 2, English for Grade 7, which was published and distributed by the Department of Education, Region 4A, Calabarzon. Hello dear learners! Once again, I am Miss Lani, and welcome to another day of exploring the world of English.
Information comes in various forms and it can be transmitted not only through linear presentation, meaningful sentences and paragraphs, but also through the use of graphs, tables, and charts. And since we have our own preferences of understanding and presenting ideas and information better, it is relevant to discuss the salient features of linear and non-linear texts. This lesson focuses on understanding the differences between linear and non-linear texts. Understanding the differences between linear and non-linear text is an essential skill as we encounter these texts almost every day. The main difference between the two lies in the way the text is read or processed by an individual. Experts call this pattern of reading a material as a reading path. A linear text refers to traditional text that needs to be read from beginning to end in order to make sense of its content. It follows a sequential reading path where the readers try to make sense of the text through grammatical arrangement and relationship of words. The common examples of this type include novels, poems, short stories, educational texts, and letters. A non-linear text, on the other hand, is a non-sequential. This means that the reader, not the author, decide how the text is to be read without necessarily following a prescribed pattern. The most common examples of non-linear text include flowcharts, charts, graphs, and other graphic organizers. A line graph is a graphical display of data that continuously changes over a specific amount or period of time. The line or lines represent movement and may ascend or descend depending on the trend they show. Also known as bar chart or bar diagram, a bar graph is a graphical representation of data that uses bars to compare data according to given categories. Such bars may run either vertically or horizontally. A pie chart or pie graph is a circular statistical tool and uses proportions or slices to represent numerical proportions or percentage of a given whole. A Venn diagram uses overlapping shapes, usually circles, to show or represent the similarities and differences between two or more items or concepts. Now, we're going to learn how to transcode linear to non-linear text and vice versa. To transcode means to transform something from one form to another. Transcoding linear text to non-linear text and vice versa is a skill that one has to be familiar with. Since it can be used in our everyday lives, there will be times when you have to transcode a linear text to non-linear text to make it easier to other people to understand it, and non-linear text to linear text to have a detailed description of a certain topic. In order to transcode a linear text to a non-linear text, or the other way around, one must first be able to fully understand what the source text is about. This way, deciding on the proper text type to be used in the transcoding process will be easier. To transcode a linear text to a non-linear text, one may follow these steps. Step 1. Read and understand the source text to get its main or central ideas. In these linear texts, the main idea is sharks and whales are classic examples of two different animals revealing similar traits in the same environment. Step 2. Extract important details to be included in the visual presentation. Step 3. Remember to use words or phrases only. That's why, from long sentences, you can just get the important words from them. Step 4. To be organized, classify information into categories. In these linear texts, we can see that the sharks and whales have similarities and differences. Step 5. Make sure to use the appropriate non-linear text in presenting your information. Since this linear text talks about similarities and differences of sharks and whales, can you identify the non-linear text we can use for this? If your answer is Venn diagram, then you got it right. This is the correct non-linear text to use in presenting the information because it talks about the similarities and differences of two concepts. This time, let us try to transcode non-linear text to linear text. Our non-linear text in this example is a pie graph. Now, we're going to transcode this non-linear text to linear text, and these are the simple steps you can follow. Step 1. Look at the details of graphic organizer, chart, or diagram carefully. Look at the non-linear text, the title, and the details. This will help us understand what we are going to write. Step 2. Get only the gist, most important details, or the summary of the information. In this pie chart, we can see that the highest percentage goes to the front cover and who's on it. It is followed by celeb gossip and the stories and reviews, while the title has the lowest percentage. Step 3. Write what the diagram is about and your interpretation based on the given information. Let us take a look on this example. The first part of the paragraph talks about the title. It does not necessarily mean that you have to copy exactly what the title is. You can rephrase it to make it better. For example, instead of saying what stands out for you when buying a music magazine, we can rephrase it to what many of the readers look for when buying a magazine. We also need to include the result of the nonlinear text. How does the writer know what many of the readers look for is the artist they like and something eye-catching with colors and fonts as a front cover, followed by what is included in the content? It is because the results are shown in the pie chart. And we should never forget the conclusion in our interpretation because it will reveal how we understood the nonlinear text. Now, get your pen and paper and let us try to answer this activity. Classify the items as to linear or nonlinear text. It's just a piece of cake, right? That is all for today. Thank you for watching. Bye!